Hi everyone, welcome to another video. Today I am taking what might be my last ever drive in my Jaguar XJ Super V8. This is an X350 platform, 2003, and I say maybe my last ever drive in it because I'm actually driving down to Historics Auctions to deliver the car for their auction that's happening this weekend. So I'm hoping my car sells there, but of course you never know at an auction. This video then is about why I'm choosing to sell this car and why I'm choosing to sell it at the Historics Auctions as well. So first thing to say, I've owned this car for just over a year now and I absolutely love it. It's my second XJ Super V8 and they are just brilliant cars. An absolute pleasure to drive, 400 horsepower, supercharged V8 of course, and just I love this era of Jag, the interior. It's exquisite, it makes you feel great when you drive it. It's the feeling it gives you that I love so much, I think. And this one is in absolutely superb condition, the best second-hand car, the best conditioned second-hand car I've ever owned, without a doubt. So I'm genuinely sad to sell this car, and it was a really tough decision to come to, but I decided I'm just not using it enough. It's just lack of use is the reason that I'm selling it. I don't know quite how many miles I've done, possibly 1,500 or so in the year that I've owned it, but I'm just not using it. I'm probably, if I'm honest with myself, a little too precious about it, in that I don't like to drive it in the winter too much. It's a relatively low car, in the high 50s thousands, low mileage car, and so I probably don't want to put huge miles on. I do about 25,000 miles a year, and I just don't want to put it on this car, to be honest. And because it's such good condition, I think it makes me subconsciously a bit precious about it. I use it less. I've never really been like that with the car. Whatever the reason, I'm not using it enough and it's going. So yeah, a really sad day, but you have to move on and I'll probably get something to replace it. So why am I choosing to sell it at Historics Auctions? People have asked me, well, why are you choosing to sell it at an auction at all? And that's a good question, because often cars don't achieve what you might think of as kind of private sale market value at auctions. Some do, some exceed it, but it's a risk. It just depends who's interested in those cars on the day. And of course you've got to pay fees on top of that for selling your car there. So why bother? Because a lot of people go and they want to get a bargain at an auction, not pay more for it. And that's probably the advice I would give most people for selling most cars. However, I decided on balance that this was possibly quite a good auction to sell this car at. My previous XJ Super V8 I sold on Auto Trader. I got a pretty good price for it, and I was quite happy with that. It is a niche car, however, and you could be waiting quite a long time for a buyer on Auto Trader. I pretty much rule out things like eBay and Gumtree for cars like this. You just got too many idiots, to be honest. So Auto Trader is definitely an option. It's a waiting game, and I think that potentially there's a chance of getting a better price at a live auction for this car specifically, and this type of car, than there might be on Auto Trader. Other options I considered were the platforms like Car and Classic, collecting cars. I've bought and sold several cars on both of those platforms. Collecting cars, I think, because of their increase in fees, I think it's now a minimum 1,200 quid, is it, for a buyer? Minimum fee. I think they've just basically ruled themselves out of cars much below £15,000 in value, I suppose, because people have to add that 10%, and it just means that you don't get a good price for your car, because the buyer is factoring in this huge extra fee, possibly 10-12% or something buyer's fee effectively, if it's a cheaper car, and that limits what they're prepared to pay for it, and therefore what you're going to get for it. So I think this kind of price range car doesn't now do well on collecting cars, and often they don't even want to take them. Car and Classic was an option. I did contact them. I've bought and sold cars, as I say, on that platform before, and that is a platform I'd consider. I spoke to them and I wasn't quite happy with the reserve that they were offering me, and I'm not saying anything bad about them. You have to agree between you on a reserve price, that's fair enough. Interestingly though, I did see, I think it's an XJR, similar era XJR, or was it an XJ Super as well, very similar to mine. I see it's on for £15,000 now, so that's a bit more than they said about selling mine for, so I was a little confused on that. Nevertheless, I'd already decided to put it in Historics Auctions. Now, I go to lots of live auctions. If you've seen my videos, you'll know that. And I chose Historics, even though I've never sold a car through there before, because I saw an XJR, similar era, I think it might have been an X358, at lower mileage than this, about 30,000 miles. It was at the auction that I went to in February, and it sold for £29,000, which to me is just a crazy amount of money for a 20-year-old Jag XJR. Now, it was a lovely car. I looked at it myself just to see what it was like, but that's big money. I don't think you've got any chance of selling that privately for that kind of money. Now, it's a long shot. Mine's not going to achieve that kind of money, obviously, but you never know. You get people on the day who like the car. All you need is two people, and there's a chance that people pay what I consider maybe a little over the private sale market value at this kind of auction. So that's the reason for it. That's why I'm going to Historics specifically. I think it's a good auction, the Ascot Racecourse auction for this kind of car. And I'm going to take my chances. And actually the fees for the auction are pretty much the same as selling it on Car and Classic, for example. So you don't pay any more. There is an entry fee of £250 or whatever to get the photographs done, etc. as well, which is non-refundable. And then you've got the percentage fee on top. But nevertheless, the difference isn't huge, and I thought there's a chance, maybe a slim chance, of getting a decent amount more than I would do on Car and Classic. So that's the reason I'm doing it. I'm driving down there now, and you'll see me next at Historics Auctions, and we'll follow this car through and see what it actually sells for. So here we go, the car made it to the auction. Fine, I got it checked in. It was a very easy process actually, and it's parked up here. I came to check on it yesterday and I'm back today to film some cars anyway. All looks good. It's parked up, looking good. Apparently there's been a bit of attention, so you know, it's in tip-top condition. I made sure it was as clean as I could before coming, obviously, and that everything worked. So it's just wait and see now. It's in the auction tomorrow morning. So I'll be here, just always like to be here if I have a car in the auction. You can kind of give the signal then if you perhaps want to accept a lower bid, or just generally good to be around so that the guys can speak to you if they need to, give the signal to the auctioneer, etc. So here's the setting here at Ascot Racecourse. Really, really impressive here. You can see the main building of Ascot. It's beautiful in this sunlight, flowers everywhere. It's unseasonably warm and a really good time to come to Ascot. So hopefully it'll bring lots of people out to view my lovely Jaguar. You never quite know. And you can see we've got cars all around here. If I just show you, all around this kind of ring. This is an area they obviously use to show off horses. You can tell I'm into horse racing. And the cars are all around the front, all around outside the front there, and then all around to here. And also inside on the ground floor, all along pretty much the length of that building, the more expensive, leakier and more prestige cars, let's say, the older ones generally, are inside. So slightly disappointed with a slightly tucked away spot for my Jag, but there you go, you don't get much say in it. So here's my Jag XJ Super V8 coming in. Moment of truth.
Just 59,000 miles since new, which given its age is pretty remarkable. So I'm starting with bidding here. I've got bids at £4,008, £5,000, I've got £5,000.
Coming in at
£5,000, my question's at £5,000 now is the bid.
Slow going.
£8,000.
You get up to 9, it would be nice.
It's in the room, on the telephone. It's on the telephone, I should say.
Yeah, probably, yeah. What we're talking, 6%?
8.5. 8.5.
You said 5 to me, right? Plus.
So, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
8,500 with the online bidder. Thank you for your phone for the phone bid. But at £8,500 then, it is online at 8.5. At £8,500 then. Final warning at 8.5. 8,500, and we'll take that as a provisional, but I think that's probably going to be sold fairly soon.
So there we go, my XJ Super V8 did sell. It didn't get as high as I thought, and slightly disappointed, I guess. It made 8,500 was the highest bid, but the reserve was £10,000 on it. I said to them I'd sell it for £9,000, get rid of it, and so they sold it to the bidder for 8,500, and they'll do away with the fee, so I'll get 8,500 for that. So yeah, I'll get 8.5 for it, which isn't too bad. Was it the right decision to come to sell this at the auction? Well, maybe. I mean, the benefit is that you get rid of it on the day. You don't have to worry about it keeping it on Auto Trader or something for ages. So that's the benefit. You know it's going to sell. Well, you hope it'll sell if you set a sensible reserve, and it's gone on the day. You know, would I have got more selling it privately? I'm not sure I'd have got much more. I sold my last one for, I think, about £7,500. Much higher mileage. I think this is a great buy at £8,500, if I'm honest. So yeah, you just, how long do you wait to find a private buyer as well for this kind of car? Potentially quite a while. Car and Classic could have been an option. I reckon I'd have got about the same on Car and Classic. So, okay, I wanted a little bit more money for it, but all in all, I'm not too disappointed. It's gone, and it's probably a fairish price. And I don't think I'd have got much more on another platform, to be honest. So there we go. There's my experience selling at Historics Auction, and I'll be back. It's been a great day out, actually. Probably be buying and selling more through here in future. So thanks very much for watching.